the podcast series hosted by the EVBB and powered by our operational grant. I'm Gennarelli, Policy and Project Manager at the EVBB, and today I have the pleasure of having with us one of our board members, so Beatrice Bellet from Mundus, from Spain, who's joining us for this last season episode. So, welcome, Beatrice.
Welcome, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so glad to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. Today is very hot in Brussels, so I know that we have a lot of, let's say, air also on us in condition, but I hope that they can only hear us. So, Beatrice, you are board member since just December in EVBB, right?
That's true. That's true. But after almost six years as a member.
As a member, okay. So, and it's been a long experience, and I think that we've done many things together. But first, let us introduce yourself, even though most of our audience know who Beatrice is, who Mundus is, because you've been very active in the network. For this, we are very grateful.
That's true. Well, I'm French, even if I represent a Spanish organization because I've been living in Spain for more than 32 years now. So I'm French in the origin, but by heart I'm Spanish. And I've been working in a European project in the European panorama for more than 22 years now. And I'm a director in Asociación Mundus and working with Mundus for now more than 8 years. And it was just starting in Mundus when I met with EVBB. And I just decided to be a member straight away because I think I really believe on European networks, which are an instrument but as well a very, very good source and of human beings on the way, because the project are human beings at the end of the day. So yes,
so this is people to people. Often what we say.
Exactly.
And we're very happy to have you for the last 6 years and more, for sure, with all the things that now the new board is also working on. But you mentioned Asociación Mundus, so I believe that Asociación Mundus is part of a wider reality of actions that Mundus represents.
Yes, right now the structure of our organization is expanding more and more, very little by little, because we want to take steps with a good reflection of what we want to do in education. But let's see, Asociación Mundus is the social part of a group of entities. This group of entities are under a shelter which is Mundus Group. At the moment we have different delegations, which main activity is hosting mobilities of vet learners and vet teachers and vet staff. We are in Canarian Island in 2 offices, in Fuerteventura and Gran Canaria. Then we have another delegation in Coimbra in Portugal for more than 3 years now. And the main headquarters are in Zaragoza. And very proximately at the end of this year we will open our delegation in France, in the wonderful city of Nice, in the French Riviera. And and Asociación Mundus, my part, let's say, is dealing with innovation in education, partnership with projects that give international visibility of the rest of the group, and make all the possible project to enhance our methodology, our impact as well. This is a kind of social cooperative responsibility of the rest of the entities.
Okay. I think it is very clear. A true European company, I have to say, with offices all around, and we'll talk about also your experience outside of Europe, which is quite impressive and a point of reference, I have to say, not only for the EVBB but in the wider ecosystem. Speaking of mobilities in general, because it's a big part of what Mundus does, and it is also an inspiration for many of the members that perhaps have a bit less experience than what Mundus has been doing in the last few years. So, as EVBB, we have been working together not only mobilities, but also on other initiatives.
That's true. Well, I can say that when I started in Mundus, it was a long time working in European project, very good experience in general with mainly the program Erasmus+. But I had the feeling that we were in this peak of activities, that we were always more or less the same actors, making innovation, but as you already know, innovation in the 2000 was really great because we were innovating something that was lasting a lot of time, maybe 10 years. It was always and already innovation. Right now, when we are talking about innovation, in 6 months you are outdated. So it was really challenging, and I wanted to start something new, and suddenly a call for proposal started, and we had the opportunity to pilot something unknown, with an unknown scenario and geographical area, which was the African continent, and I decided to go. And for sure, EVBB was one of our key partners to build this so complicated partnership. 36 organizations in 23 countries going to pilot something that was brand new, which was mobility intercontinental with vet students and vet learners from Africa. So it was a before and an after in the Asociación Mundus project, definitely. It would have been a great adventure for years, 4 years and a half. We had the pandemic in between.
Sure.
But we decided that suddenly, to me, as the head of the organization, the impact we had at that moment was so important that it was like starting in the 2000 when I started with Erasmus Plus, starting newly in a virgin geographic area. So it was so challenging, so incredible that we decided this as a mission, and we embedded this action of Mundus in Africa as one of our flagship.
Definitely a life-changing opportunity. We're talking about SAAM project. So just for the viewers also to catch up on the name, which it is very, very famous because of the great work that has been done. Mundus has been one of the co-leaders basically of this initiative itself. As EVBB we supported and we decided to invest. Now if our listeners could also view the map that we have behind us, with all the members that now are represented throughout the world and many in Africa, but also thanks to the work that has been done in context of SAAM. But tell me a bit more, now there is this great system between Europe, Africa, intra-Europe vet mobility. So how's it working? And do you feel that it's growing, it's expanding, it's a priority indeed?
It's a priority for Europe to work outside, to work beyond Europe. And it's already in this last program, it is obvious that part of the budget is dedicated together with DG INPA, DG Employ and DG EAC to work and to expand our Erasmus spirit, let's say, even trying to have this flow for our EU values in the rest of the world. And that's true that definitely Africa is very next to our continent. It's the one that we have southern part, and we have to take care of what's going on there because it will affect right now in the present, but for sure in the future. And I think that Erasmus Plus is one of the instruments which is maybe not the most important in terms of budget, but definitely we work with young people, with youth. And if you work with youth, we work with the future leaders of Africa in the next 20 years. And this is something that we have to take care. Of course, the leaders are the one side and won't stop. So Erasmus will be one of the instruments, and that's true for Mundus, that we no longer use only this instrument, which is educative instrument, the most flagship program in Europe, but we have decided to work with other kind of instrument and other programs, and we really think that this is something that we have to build little by little and going on the ground. And at the moment, our two focus are Africa, for sure, not the whole Africa, maybe the one connected with our government as well, with our development and cooperation for development from Spain, but also to Balkans, because we have some actions in Balkans, and we do think that Balkans is our neighboring area, and we have to take care of this as well.
Yes, normally, in fact, in the European continent itself, we have to exactly create pathways for the Balkan states and countries also to be more and more involved also in the EU as a whole, and we hope also soon as a full member states. This is part of the work that has been done, and part of also the work of Erasmus Plus now is very strategic. It's not only related to education and training, but as a political compass behind that, for sure also in Africa as well. In fact, in Africa, between SAAM, which was concluded in 2022, if I remember.
No, in last year.
Last year, so only
In
2024.
24, because we had 1 year more because of COVID. We asked for a pro rata. But yes, when we start with SAAM, at the same time there were like 5 pilots in Balkans as well, making possible this future capacity building in vet education in the other regions. So we started in 2022 with capacity building in vet in the program, embedded already. And it was a surprise because we thought that the European Commission wanted to test until the end what we had in SAAM and in another project in Africa that was at the same time, to get some results, some lessons learned, and finally to take a decision. But they definitely, it took them 2 years to see that we were doing things on the right way, and they decided to launch this possibility before
both ways, with the priority that is more and more urgent, and at the same time also the work that proved that the conditions are there, they are mature. So there is the conditions to go and do more targeted interventions through the capacity building projects in 1, 2, 3 countries at the same time, maybe not 40 plus as SAAM was, but very targeted.
Yes, and we have many babies of SAAM right now. And it's really nice. I just had a meeting with DG INPA, which was our origin of SAAM was from DG INPA, and they already feel the results of these amazing pilots, not only SAAM. No? And we have many babies in little small capacity building, but at the end of the day, this is much more, let's say, comprehensive and useful to go only 2 or 3 European countries and to go to 2 or 3 countries in Africa, because normally the people say, oh, African continent, but these are 54 countries, totally different the one from the other. It's the same that you want to see Europe and Spain and Finland are the same. No, we are definitely different, and they are different. So you have to take care where you are going to work with, what kind of African people you are going to work, taking care of the language in between as well, and all the past that had this country in terms of colonialism, etc., etc. So this is very interesting continent, very diverse, but I think capacity building, those mini action, 2 years, 3 years in 2 or 3 countries, is definitely more impactful for education. And right now, all the instruments that are under Global Gateway, which are this big picture, no, I think it makes sense, which was not so obvious 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we had money, but we just went there and have some little action. But right now, everything is on the path and very straight and very good action of the European delegation in the countries as well.
Let's remind them as well, you know, the special work that they do.
And really, 6 years ago, I remember my first trip in SAAM was in Kenya at the very beginning of 2021 with all the masks and etc. And we went to visit the European delegation in Kenya. Ah, come on, and they didn't know about Erasmus, they didn't know about what we were doing there, and they didn't know almost anything. And right now, 6 years after, the European delegation are together with the Erasmus National Focal Point, together with INPA, together with all the partners of the CBVET, working to have good quality of activities, good impact, etc. And this is totally different, and it has been done in 6 years, and it's amazing.
Only 6 years, and this is one of the good examples where we say that education has to make itself be listened. And I think this was one of the occasions where we can really prove that a pilot project, ambitious, with great work behind, really get the attraction of not only policymakers at EU level, but also African ones at the same time. And I want to connect on this because I think that now we found ourselves in a second position back in Europe, perhaps where education also has to make, I think, its voice heard, no? Because we are in view of a new financial framework. In the next couple of years it will become more defined, and especially for the future of mobility. So my question is for you, and I think there is no one better that I would like to ask this question to, is where do you see the future of mobilities for VET now in Europe?
It's going to be expanded more and more. I'm absolutely sure. I mean, when I started with Erasmus Plus in 2003, oh my God, in 2003, the flagship of this program, it was not Erasmus Plus program, it was another name. And Erasmus Plus was the brand of the mobility of the higher education students, no? And they finally decided to take this big brand that was made at the end of the day. Everybody knows about Erasmus, not only in Europe, as well outside. I remember in the United States and Canada, I worked with them in around 2010, and they did know Erasmus. So they finally decided to have this brand as the name of the program. But it was made for mobility, not only for mobility. In 2003, we didn't have this partnership. We had this Leonardo, Socrates, etc. But in the following program. So mobility was the origin. And I think it's time to reshape the whole program. I think even if it's the unknown, and we can feel so in risk or in danger, or somehow with something that we cannot, we have the sense to control everything, because the program since 2007 is more or less the same, little by little. But they have to change this, because the world has changed very rapidly, but definitely mobility is not going to change. Mobility is going to remain with a lot of budget in between, because this is the origin of what we want to do, is moving people, moving low knowledge, giving experience, multiculturalism, job shadowing, knowing each other. And I mean, okay, we know since COVID that with Teams, Meets, and all the screens in between, we can do great job, but without this exchange of human beings and really having the sense that I know the country, I know these people, I know their city, where they live, it's impossible to have an impactful action. So mobility for me is going to increase, and definitely that they have already a percentage they want to reach. I think they will reach very soon, because I think that education is going to be no more second choice for a lot of students and young people. So we are going to increase this very rapidly, I think. I feel in 5 years we will be even more or less equal with higher education mobility, and maybe even because you know what, mobility for higher education is definitely educative mobility. You are going to a university to study, okay? But VET is different. You can go to a VET school to study, for sure, but the maximum is having an internship in an enterprise, okay? So which is totally connected with the labor market. And if you have to think about the best panorama for a mobility, which is one of our action in Mundus, is helping the VET school before deciding of a mobility scheme to think about what is their international strategy. What do I want using mobility as a mean, but not an objective? I don't want to send my student in any country
for the sake of it.
Exactly. I want, okay, what do I want to do? what is my main mission? Giving employability to all my educative community. What do I have regionally, locally, in terms of labor market and labor opportunities? Where is the excellence in these fields of education all around in Europe? Let's go to this excellence and send my student in administration to Finland, because there is something to improve.
Yes.
There is an excellence. And this RIS3 strategy in all the region connect this excellence. So what we have, let's say,